Mr. President, may we recognize Senator Gordon?
Can I process the motion first? There's a motion now to elect Senator Trillanes as a member of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
May we recognize Senator Richard Gordon?
Senator Gordon is recognized.
Mr. President, I just wanted to make a manifestation here in connection with the speech made by Senator De Lima. I'm sorry that she's not here. I was going to make this manifestation right away, but I wanted to let the younger senators make the first move. But unfortunately, she has gone. And far be it from my mind to say something when somebody is not here. It is not a criticism of Senator De Lima that I stand here today. I stand here today because whether we like it or not, there were implications in the speech that seemed to cast aspersion on those who voted to declare the whole committee vacant. And that was a motion made by no less than my colleague, Senator Pacquiao. That was made, I believe, in the interest of objectivity. It was not made against Senator De Lima. It was not made against any senator. It was made because the situation has become convoluted. The charges and counter-charges are being filed even as we speak. I think this morning or this afternoon there was a continuous hearing in the Congress where Senator De Lima was again on the carpet. I mean, very serious accusations are being made. And in the matter of investigating something as important as extrajudicial killings, you will need the objectivity that is so important to make sure that you are not accused of being biased. Because you cannot help it, we are all humans, emotions get into the picture, and definitely when emotions get into the picture, as you can see the other day, a sudden witness came in from nowhere. We don't even know who, what, where he came from. And in fact, I think Senator Lacson was in fact scandalized by the fact that he was the co-chairman of the committee and he was not told that there was a witness that was going to come in. And as the Senate President himself said, this was out of topic. Now, Your Honor, I did not want to get that committee. You all know that. But I really looked at the resolution, and the resolution spoke about the rampant and the recent killings, extrajudicial killings that had to be investigated. It had nothing to do with the President, it had nothing to do with anybody else, except that, you know, there are rampant killings ongoing right now in the country. And if we are going to make sure that we get down to the bottom of it, we must show that we are objective. And I thank Senator De Lima for having said very kind words. I hope it was not tongue-in-cheek. And I will take it the way it was spoken, and I accept it, because to thine own self be true. I am not a hypocrite. There is only one judge that I face to. That is, when I go look into the mirror, am I true? I am the only one who can cheat myself, and no amount of flattery will make that change, Your Honor. And that is why it is important that I rise here today, not just necessarily on behalf of the Senate. I dare not speak in behalf of the Senate. I think the Senate, they are all honorable men, and they can speak for themselves. You know, sometimes we belittle the lack of education of some of our compatriots, but I think Senator Pacquiao has spoken, has proven that in spite of the shortness in education, he has risen because of his work ethic, and he can speak his mind, and Senator Pacquiao has his own mind. I don't think we can deny that. And I don't think we should belittle that. I think we should honor the fact that we are brave enough to speak and not afraid, doesn't have walls, no one should have walls in his mind to be afraid to say something that he believes in, especially in this Senate. We're elected here. There are only 24 of us. And when we come here, I dare say that I have never been dictated upon in my life. I do not want people to say that we were all dictated upon. Even the insinuation is painful to my ears. I'm not defensive, Your Honor. And I will be true to you, and I say I have only met President Duterte once since he got elected. And even during the campaign, we hardly even talked. We had an exchange of opinion. I would like to say that even President Duterte doesn't want to dictate upon us. And precisely, I stood up here 2 weeks ago, last week, and came out with a bill that says, no, it's not the president that can declare martial law. No, it's not the president that can declare a state of, where he suspends the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. I stood up here because, like I said, and like I intimated the other day, the Constitution has made a legal eunuch out of the provision in Article 7 of the Constitution, that it is no longer effective to declare martial law because we in Congress have been given the right to say no to any martial law. And I can believe that the Congress can do so because we are all honorable and principled men here in the Senate and many people in the House as well. But having said that, Your Honor, there was also another provision that says we must share the responsibility of emergency powers. And that is why the judiciary can also limit those powers, and we can limit the powers of emergency by any president in terms of the duration, in terms of the objective of those powers, Mr. President. And that is why when I hear the President say, oh, I don't care about the Congress, they can do whatever they want, but I will do what I want. That is commendable. Political will is something that we have always been short of in this country. And I respect a president who says he will do what he needs to do. I know in my heart, and I've known President Duterte, I would not even say we're very close friends or even close friends. We were both mayors. But when I look at him, I know in his heart of hearts, he doesn't want disorder to reign in this country. He doesn't want our children to become druggies. He doesn't want terrorism to win in this country. And that is why, maybe to a certain extent, in my mind, being a former mayor and an executive at heart, rather than a legislator, I would give him wide swath. But I draw the line on killings. I don't think any senator here will tolerate unnecessary killings. I don't think they will tolerate anybody in this country to allow man to kill another man just for the sake of it. And that is why there is an investigation going on. That is why we're called upon by the very resolution authored by Senator De Lima, that he says there are recent killings and there are rampant killings, and therefore we must look at legislation to prevent that from happening, Mr. President. And that is why we have to look at it. And right away, even if I did not want to get it last night, I spent a few more hours, and that is why I was late for the dinner of the Senate President. Because I sat down with my staff and I said, here is the resolution. You have to look closely at whether the police are doing their job, and if they're not doing their job, we will call them to the dock. We will ask him, ano ang ginagawa ninyo? Mayroon mga namamatay dyan na sinasabi natin, ito ay, anong tawag doon, killings na hindi mapaliwanag, yung vigilante killings. Ay kung may vigilante killings, hindi porque may vigilante killings, matutulog na lang tayo rito. Hindi natin papayagan na porque may vigilante killings, okay na sa atin yan. Kailangan ipaliwanag ng pulisya because sila ang nakalagay sa Constitution na sila ang in charge of peace and order even in the regions. And there is only one national police force in this country. And secondly, Mr. President, nakakatakot yung mga sinasabing gano'n na madidiktahan na Senado because I don't think everybody from Senate President Drilon, who just came in and almost, No, you almost stumbled on the floor, and now that you're leaving, you may as well go, because you're... I'm just kidding. You know, President Drilon and I have seen a lot of days together, but certainly, let me just say, Mr. President, that we have to make sure that we always speak out when we see wrong, and we should try to right what is wrong. And we are not here as rubber stamps, that whatever the President says will happen. I am speaking here for myself, and I think I speak in the heart, for the heart of many of the senators here, including our bishop here, Senator Villanueva, who just came in. And again, are you stating a point of order? It's a gentleman. So having said that, because, Your Honor, I am easily disturbed by inappropriate remarks, chatting while somebody is speaking. I always call the attention of the President when there is noise in the gallery because I want to hear every word spoken here. When somebody speaks here, he's speaking for the people of this country. And everybody should pay attention. And I paid attention. I took notes. I could easily answer point by point what Senator De Lima said earlier. And for the record, sabi nga ni Senator kanina, nag-uusap ko palagi, I enjoy sitting beside my friend Senator Villar and Senator Subiri. We are called the Peter, Paul, and Mary. We try to imagine that we are singers. And I can remember when I was talking about that, sabi niya, kanina, iniimbestiga kanina ni tayo yung nangyayari since 2009. If that was the case, then cases should have been filed in 2009. I will not trouble Senator De Lima. I think I commiserate with her, like I said yesterday. I have the highest respect for her. To me, she is innocent until proven otherwise. But unfortunately, the political turmoil in this country brought about by a colonial hangover that tries to bring down our mindset, that makes fear in our hearts so that we will be afraid to speak up. We will not speak up because we are afraid. We have been taught to submit. I do not submit, Mr. President. I can speak for myself. And I think you all know my record in Olongapo and in Subic when I was, of course, unceremoniously removed and I had to go to the Supreme Court on all those occasions and fought back. I think you know my record even during the Marcos administration. I voted to ban Mr. President. I have a mind of my own, and far be it from my mind to think that the Senate doesn't have a mind of its own, that we will be dictated upon. Having said that, Mr. President, I could also list down on that beautiful screen all the things that have happened in the past. Mama Sapano. The silence is deafening. There was an investigation, but up to now, nobody is being hailed to justice. There are court cases filed after the previous administration came up. We can talk about the other things, perhaps even Senator De Lima, and I was talking to one of the lawyers here, a former Justice Corona, just a while ago. When President Macarola Macapagad was leaving, there was a court order saying that you cannot order a watch list. You cannot put her on a watch list because that is a violation of the constitutional rights of any person. And yet, she was forbidden from leaving. And to me, that was unconstitutional. So we are not all perfect, Mr. President. Sometimes they use the word dick in several meanings, They say dictator, sabihin lang ganun. Well, we are all allergic to dictatorship. I'd like to think that it is more used in a more pleasurable way, Your Honor. Meaning to say, we are always making sure that the dictum of the law is always followed. And that is why, Mr. President, I rose up and I could not restrain myself. By the way, GMA declared a state of emergency and a state of lawlessness to a certain extent when she was under the heel in a coup. Cory Aquino declared a revolutionary government. So it's not Mr. Duterte who has issued a state of lawlessness. President Arab also declared not only a state of emergency, if my memory serves correct, he even declared all-out war in Mindanao. So, Mr. President, I'm sure passions have overtaken some of us here, myself included. Who are we? We are sometimes dictated by our own minds and our own passions, and that is a dangerous part. That is why I think we were all shocked when the hearing last Thursday was going out of control and that the senators on their own meeting together said, we will not have that anymore. We cannot be seen as trying to, block one another here. Cannot be seen as trying to stop somebody from speaking. We cannot be seen a chair that cannot control the proceedings. And I think perhaps maybe because she is overwrought, maybe she has those problems, and certainly we should support our colleague when she is in trouble. I am not happy with her predicament. And that is why, Mr. President, in fairness to us also, I rise because I am not dictated upon. And as chairman, I told you yesterday, I will do so in a firm and fair manner, and I will consult the body. And that is why I would just like to announce to everyone that there will be a hearing right away on Thursday, as scheduled at 1 o'clock, and we will even bring the witness that came from nowhere, Mr. Batabato, but I know what we have to do. And I, as chairman of that committee, in consultation with our colleagues here, certainly, I'm already saying it ahead of time, we will not allow anybody to speak there, especially in a controversial manner, unless they follow the resolution authored by Senator De Lima. And we will not allow just anybody to speak up unless the senators are prepared with an affidavits of all the other witnesses that are going to come forward, so everybody can adequately prepare, so we can fulfill the task given to us in a firm, fair, cogent, reflective way, the task at hand. Forgive me if I put humor here, because sometimes they say you can say a lot of good things with your colleagues so that the tension will dissipate. I've learned through the years, and I think Senate President always calls my attention, mabait ka na ngayon. I've always been kind. I've always been mabait. I've always been passionate. That's why, dicks are always passionate, Your Honor. And I know that you're taking it literally, Your Honor. So, Mr. President, the remarks I've done out of jest and out of camaraderie and out of friendship and collegiality. Therefore, and thank all of you for having the patience to listen to this manifestation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Gordon.
Thank you. Mr. President, I would like to associate myself with the manifestation or the hard manifestation of Senator Dick Gordon. Particularly on the part that we cannot be dictated upon. I assure everyone that I have not received any call or any manifestation from anyone when I voted yesterday, Mr. President. I move that earlier, Mr. President.
Excuse me, Majority Leader, Senator Subiri. I think
Yes.
Senator Subiri is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's just a quick manifestation. I actually gave this statement out to the media today. I'd like to put this on record to cast any aspersion that anyone called us from Malacanang or any cabinet member. In all honesty, Mr. President, I called you last Thursday out of concern for the Senate. Nobody called us to call each other to make any motion on the floor to reorganize. We all decided to do this after we watched the hearing on Thursday. It was quite alarming. And so my statement today, Mr. President, if I may put it on record, is that I am one with the people who want to see a Senate doing its job. We need impartial chairmen to conduct public hearings efficiently and fairly. People want results. I was disappointed at seeing Senate investigations being used to push other people's agenda. In my 5 years as a civilian, when I resigned in 2011 until I got elected 2016, I've watched several Senate proceedings often descended into grandstanding and had become tools for demolition jobs. It's the truth, Mr. President. As legislators, we should be productive and proactive rather than destructive. People demand results from the hearings and inquiries, and like developmental laws that we need to pass. Right now, we are hearing the national budget. Senator Lauren Legarda has been doing this every day. Sometimes I see her all alone in her lonesome, fighting the lonesome battle. Right now, she needs our help and demands our close attention to the budget hearings. Our offices must be used for delivering change that we promised will happen in the first year of this administration. We should deal with the horrible traffic, the poverty eradication, jobs generation, improving education, stopping the spread of illegal drugs, and criminality, instead of focusing on these agendas, Mr. President. Let us avoid using the Senate for grandstanding. I respect the power and prerogative of the Senate to investigate. Let me put that on record, Mr. President. It is our prerogative. It's our prerogative to make these investigations in aid of legislation. But once an agenda is involved, the whole process is derailed and the public interest is forgotten. Me personally, Mr. President, it's not my style. For those who know me, similar to Senator Sani Angara, Senator Joel, even Senator Sherwin Gatchalian told me earlier, that's not their style. We just want to buckle down and work, Mr. President. There's a lot of problems that we need to solve. And that is why I called you last Thursday and we called for the meeting. That's all, Mr. President. No other hidden agenda, no political agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Zubiri. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, perhaps a motion that I will be filing now will resolve a problem in the committee that Senator Gordon will now be heading. He is going to continue with the committee hearing on Thursday, contrary to what others may think, that we are stopping the hearings on the extrajudicial killings issue. So with that, Mr. President, I move that PS Resolution 151, introduced by Senator Trillanes IV, which was earlier referred to the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, be likewise referred to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights so that they can take it up on Thursday likewise, Mr. President.
Can we clarify which committee will now be the primary and the secondary?
Well, as agreed earlier, it is still the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, but secondarily the Committee on Justice and Human Rights.
So,
Senator Lacson and Senator Trillanes agreed. They pointed this out earlier to this representation, Mr. President.
there is a motion to also refer proposed Senate Resolution number 151 to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights as a secondary committee. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion, Senator Recto.
Clarification. What committee, what resolution are we referring to?
151, Mr. President, is a new resolution.
New
filed by
resolution,
Senator
just
Trillanes.
referred today.
Okay, this is the resolution of my colleague in the minority.
Yes.
Okay, and that resolution is referred to what committee?
Earlier,
Primary
it was referred to the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs.
Earlier. As the primary committee.
That's primary committee
Okay.
and the loan committee. We are now, because of the manifestation of Senator Lacson and Trillanes, we are now moving that it be also referred to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights. And this will allow the Committee on Justice and Human Rights to tackle the Matubato issue on Thursday when they
Thursday.
hear.
Okay, so the primary committee will be then Justice.
No, it
No.
will stay the same.
It's still
Public
public
order and
dangerous
secondary.
drugs. But they are holding a joint hearing anyway.
Okay. If the majority leader says that this was an agreement reached between Senator Trillanes, because I was not there during that.
Yes, there was a
meeting.
huddle earlier
Yes.
before the break, and they agreed.
So,
Well,
I
if
will
you
receive-
take the word of the majority
do you
leader,
have
if there is
anything
an
else?
agreement, then I will not object, Mr.
Mr.
President.
President, I'm ready to entertain any other.
No, there's no objection. It was only a clarificatory question. I will now restate the pending motion. There is a motion to secondarily refer proposed Senate Resolution number 151 to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights. And as additional information, that was earlier primarily referred to the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, there being no other matter, I move to adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Wednesday, September 21, 2016.
Is there any objection? There being none, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Wednesday, September 21, 2016.